Hey everyone, today we're diving into the world of Where Winds Meet to talk about the best weapon martial arts you can master. If you've ever wondered which ones pack the most punch or are just the most fun to play, you're in the right place. We'll break down each martial art, what makes them unique, and why some of them just completely dominate the battlefield. We'll also go over the tier list rankings and the criteria we use to judge them, so you'll know exactly why your favorite made the cut or didn't. Whether you're a seasoned shit player or just starting out, this guide will help you figure out which martial arts fit your style and give you an edge in every fight. So grab your weapons and let's jump in. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking weapons in Where Winds Meet. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Mortal Rope Dart, Vernal Umbrella, Inkwell Fan, and Stormbreaker Spear. Alright, let's be real for a second. B tier weapons in Where Winds Meet aren't exactly the headliners of the party, but they still have some moves that can make you look cool while you're getting hit. First up, we have the Mortal Rope Dart. This little guy is all about speed. You swing fast and every hit summons a Might Rat to harass your enemies alongside you. Sounds fun, right? But here's the catch. The rat only sticks around for 10 seconds before you have to swap back and summon it again, which makes it a bit more of a timing game than a constant powerhouse, great as a secondary option, but don't expect it to carry your matches solo. Next, we've got the Vernal Umbrella, which, let me tell you, might just have the best range of any weapon in the game. You can use it as your main weapon or turn it into a secondary projectile dealing turret. Think of it like a fancy spinning umbrella that actually fights for you. Minus the umbrella drinks, its charged light attacks let you float while dealing damage. But here's the risky part. While airborne, you are still open to enemy attacks, and the move eats through your stamina faster than a snack disappears at a party. Timing is everything if you don't want to end up face first on the ground. Then there's the Inkwell Fan, which is basically the elegant acrobatic dancer of weapons. It gives you decent mobility, a solid range, and the ability to launch enemies into the air, so you can chain together a combo. But like that one friend who's always on time but somehow never is, the combo can be inconsistent. Some enemies just shrug off your launch, or worse, they move right out of it. You'll feel powerful 1 second and then utterly betrayed the next. Now, let's talk about the Stormbreaker Spear. Don't get me wrong, this weapon has a heart of gold. It's more about defense than raw damage. It gives you a nice damage reduction buff and can apply vulnerable to enemies, which is perfect if you're thinking, I'll help my friends do damage while I look heroic. But if you're aiming to solo carry, Stormbreaker Spear might leave you wishing you'd pick something a bit more aggressive. Unless you pair it with the Thundercry Blade, this one sits firmly in the supportive but underwhelming category. The Mortal Rope Dart's charm is really in its playful energy. There's a rhythm to swapping in the Might Rat, attacking and then recalling it. And if you master that rhythm, it can turn fights from mundane to a mini dance party. Just don't get too cocky. You'll find that 10 seconds goes by faster than you expect when the enemy is hot on your tail. Vernal Umbrella is all about that high risk, high reward style floating midair, while raining down damage feels amazing, until you realize that enemies are basically playing hit the floating target with you as the prize. So yes, it's flashy, yes it's fun, but stamina management and timing are key. Miss that, and it's goodbye style points. Inkwell Fan is probably the one you pick if you enjoy showing off a little launching enemies, chaining combos, and darting around with grace. This weapon screams, look at me! But remember, it's inconsistent. Not every enemy is going to be a willing dance partner, and sometimes your perfect combo ends in the most anticlimactic miss. Still, if you're feeling fancy and agile, it's worth the gamble. Finally, Stormbreaker Spear is the dependable friend who isn't flashy, but makes everyone else look better. Low damage, high defense, vulnerable debuffs. It's not about stealing the spotlight, it's about making sure your squad shines. If you're all about strategy over ego, this is your weapon. Otherwise, it might leave you staring at the leaderboard and wondering, was I supposed to hit more things? The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Heaven Quaker Spear, Thundercry Blade, Infernal Twin Blades, and Nameless Spear. Let's talk about the A tier weapons in Where Winds Meet, the ones that make you feel like a total boss, but not quite untouchable. First up, we have the Heaven Quaker Spear. This baby shines when you're surrounded by a crowd because one of its skills buffs your damage based on how many hits land. Basically, the bigger the brawl, the harder you hit. But here's the kicker. Against solo targets like bosses, you won't reach the full buff even if you equip its special internal arts that rely on bleeding stacks. Crowd control heaven, solo struggle city. Next, the Infernal Twin Blades. If you love speed, this weapon is basically adrenaline in blade form, fast attacks, high mobility. It lets you chase down enemies like a whirlwind, but, and this is a big but, it doesn't hit multiple enemies at once, so AoE damage is basically a myth here. Its Flame Lash mode can give you huge buffs, but in solo fights, you'll still need to dodge and survive, which will inevitably break your combo. Still, it's exhilarating if you like being in the thick of it. Now, meet the Thundercry Blade, the slow and steady tank option. It's all about charging up those devastating attacks while generating shields that scale with your maximum health. You can soak hits like a champ, but beware, any block or dodge cancels your charge. Yes, even with your mighty shield, defensive maneuvers are still essential. It's perfect for players who like to feel indestructible, until reality smacks you mid-charge. The Nameless Spear is where burst damage dreams come true. Its fast-hitting charged heavy attack is brutal, and the endurance reduction buffs from its skills mean enemies get punished while you go to town. The downside, short range. This weapon really struggles against ranged enemies because you're constantly in danger while trying to land your attacks. Think of it as a glass cannon in melee form, powerful but a bit exposed. The Heaven Quaker Spear's charm is all about group synergy. You step into a crowd, start landing hits, and suddenly you're dishing out damage that makes enemies regret showing up. Single bosses though? Not so much. You'll need strategy and timing, especially if you want that bleeding stack internal art to shine. Infernal Twin Blades is pure chaos in the best way. You feel unstoppable chasing enemies down, spinning and slashing like a tornado. The problem is that perfection in Flame Lash mode is tricky when you're alone. You're fun, fast, and flashy, but survival still depends on your reflexes. It's a weapon for thrill seekers, no question. Thundercry Blade is basically the I got this weapon. You charge, you shield, you hit like a mountain. But remember, one wrong defensive move and your charge evaporates. It's a weapon for patient players who love planning their strikes and soaking hits like a true tank. Timing is everything, and misstep equals wasted power. Nameless Spear is the in-your-face option. Short range, fast heavy attacks, and brutal burst damage. It's exciting and punishing at the same time. You'll have to dive into danger to maximize its potential, which makes fights tense but incredibly satisfying when you land that perfect charged attack. It's not for the faint of heart, but oh man, it feels amazing when it clicks. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Soulshade Umbrella, Panacea Fan, Strategic Sword, and Nameless Sword. Alright, if you thought the A and B tier weapons were cool, welcome to S tier, the big leagues where even your mistakes feel epic. First up, the Soulshade Umbrella. Don't let the name fool you, it's support but it's sneaky powerful. It heals over time and gives damage buffs, which means you can swap it in, trigger its skills, and then swap back to your damage weapon, like some tactical ninja, perfect for combo setups and keeping your team alive while still feeling like a hero. Then there's the Panacea Fan, basically the ultimate early game lifesaver. It heals better than the Soulshade Umbrella, though it doesn't boost damage. But here's the kicker, you can focus on parrying and executing enemies while constantly healing yourself. In multiplayer, this weapon can literally resurrect allies, which means one clutch play can completely flip a fight. Talk about being the MVP without even swinging for damage. The Strategic Sword is where strategy meets raw power. It applies stacks of damage over time, which can later explode for massive burst damage. But it's not just about setting traps. This weapon gives you high mobility, letting you dash, reposition, or close gaps while still dishing out bleeding damage. It's like having the perfect balance between offense and defense. You hit hard, but you can dance around danger like a pro. Next, the Nameless Sword is pure DPS chaos, and it's all about mobility. You can weave in and out of enemy range mid-combo, hitting multiple targets or focusing on single enemies with AoE attacks. It's incredibly versatile and works in almost every scenario the game throws at you. If you like weaving in and out of combat like a shadow, this is your weapon. Soulshade Umbrella isn't flashy in direct combat, but its strength lies in timing and flexibility. Swap it in, let it heal or buff, then swap back to your main weapon. It's the kind of support that feels invisible until you realize you're still at full health while the enemy is panicking. Panacea Fan is basically the Angel of Mercy. Sure, your damage is minimal, but your ability to constantly heal, parry, execute, and resurrect allies makes you indispensable in any fight multiplayer matches. You could turn the tide single-handedly. It's like being a silent god on the battlefield. Strategic Sword makes you feel like a tactical genius. You set up the damage over time, move in and out, and then trigger massive bursts. It rewards planning, timing, and mobility, which is perfect if you enjoy controlling the pace of battle while still being dangerous in a direct fight. Nameless Sword is all about flow, fast combos, AoE options, high mobility. It's a weapon that rewards skillful play and keeps combat exciting. Whether you're dodging, weaving, or unleashing a finishing combo, it gives you everything you need to dominate almost any encounter. S-tier weapons don't just make you powerful, they make you feel unstoppable. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.